I'm so glad you're here this morning. We're just laughing because Lisa and I are just kind of sending out, making sure everybody gets to know about the show. And sometimes things happen in the moment, right? And it's like, all right, do we trust our intuition to say yes? Because this moment is here now. And then the next moment is going to be the next moment. And so it's like, are we able to move moment by moment with our intuitive knowing? So that really is what this is about. And it's, you know, your intuition is always like, yes, right? It just feels good. It feels right in your body. And if it's an intuitive no, you'll kind of feel some constriction. You might even feel some fear. It's like, yeah, that's probably not right for me right now. And wait till it opens. So Lisa, I would love for you to dive a little bit more into that first, and then we'll formally introduce you. But a topic I was really thinking about last night was, you know, fear versus intuition. You know, how do you know you're following your intuition versus your fear? Because fear can also be a block to your intuition. So if you want to just touch on that, and we'll dive in.
Absolutely. Hello, good morning. Yeah, no, that really is huge. It's a huge and really wonderful topic. So I'm glad you brought that up because it is tricky for all of us in so many ways because the ego loves to jump in and be like, let's do this, or get fearful and be like, no, 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 don't do that, And so we're often confused by, is this my ego? Is this my intuition? Is this my higher self, right? Is this my guides, depending on where we're getting our information from. So, I definitely notice that when I teach people to access the Akashic Records, when they're very kind of worried, it's a different kind of fear, but worry is a version of fear, right? When they're really worried if they're going to get it right, or if it's really the record keepers, so the more we get into our head, the more we move out of our heart, the less either connection we have to our Akashic Records, our intuitive knowing. I get a lot of intuitive information, definitely heart-centered also, never up here, right? It's always more down in our body, heart, gut for a lot of us. I just know kind of third, fourth chakra feeling, or it's those goosebumps or chills or whatever that might be. So basically, I feel like what it kind of comes down to is practice, and really paying a lot of attention to, this is what I got. I stop and really in this moment again, check back into my heart. Am I in my heart? Am I in my head? Am I in my fear? No, I'm good. I'm calm. Yeah. Okay, I'm in my heart. Yeah. And then maybe I ask again, is it really in my highest and best good to do whatever it might have been that was showing up? Okay. Feel down into your gut again as you're getting that. So a lot of these really clairsentient body feelings are so helpful in confirming or not, right, what we're receiving intuitively. So really learning to spend more time in our heart, really stopping, taking that moment to check back in. I'm really in my heart in this moment, not in my head in fear or excitement, which is another interesting aspect, right? A lot of times something sounds really good and we get excited and we jump, and then it doesn't work out very well. And we're like, what happened there? And it was, again, it wasn't true intuitive knowingness. It was much more our ego, our head, our sometimes random emotions, right? Whether it's fear or excitement, they can both pull us out of that deeper connection and that deeper knowingness. So.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So would you agree? So I love just the putting hands on heart, right? Because when we're in our heart, we are connected to love. We're connected to everyone and everything from love. And it actually pulls the energy out of the mind. So it kind of dispels, if you're truly in your heart, I believe it actually dispels fear. Because in perfect love, there is no fear. So if you're truly in your heart, you're going to feel just love, right?
Right.
And then I think you're going to be guided towards greater love, right? Because the heart is always wanting to expand. Um, and so then I'm curious, I've always taught your heart then moves into your gut. And you mentioned that too. So I'm wondering, is that the highest way you feel to connect with intuition is heart to gut? Or is it just in the heart? Or how, when you say clairsentience, what do you feel is the best way? Because I recently did. I followed my heart and then my gut. And then I was like, wait, maybe my gut was my fear. And it was, kind of like messing with me. So I'm curious what you think about that.
Right. So, for me, it's really interesting because it depends on how you're wired. I have to say, I don't think there's one simple answer for everyone. I personally am not that deeper kind of empathic gut, clairsentient oriented myself. I'm much more clairaudient, clairvoyant, which does show up more in the head. So again, add another layer of confusion in there. But if you are, and you are, right? And a lot of people know they are because they have a lot of very tactile senses. To me, it is a lot of times the goosebumps or some pull kind of third chakra draw. So it can show up in a variety of different ways. But the reason that I love to share about the Akashic Records and teach people to do that is because I believe we can connect to this very high, expansive realm and get very clear, direct information. And we can ask specific questions and get specific answers. And so to me, it's just another way of going deeper and being more sure of what we're getting in our body. Mm-hmm. So when we can use all of our gifts, both our heart is very much what I call claircognizance, right? It's that clear knowingness. Often that's what we get, is that I know that this is the right choice. And then my gut might respond and say, yes, absolutely. Or maybe it does have some fear. Or again, a lot of our body senses get filtered through other people's energy that's in our space. So again, it can get complicated. And I noticed the same thing with like clairaudience. Are we really hearing a message? Or is it just myself talking to myself?
Or is it somebody else's thought? Like I'm very clairaudient and I'll hear I'll hear it. I'll be like, somebody just told me that. Or they'll say it like right after and I'll be like, I was totally just picking up your thought. You know what I'm saying? So so that's the discernment piece of what is the knowingness within you, so that's kind of the word I use in my courses. It's like, So I remember, God, this was so long ago, but this woman, her husband, I believe, was a paraplegic, where basically he couldn't feel anything in his physical body from the neck down. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, hey, like, how do you feel your intuition? Like, I know you're connected to your intuition. And he's like, yeah, I am. He knows it, but he actually doesn't feel his physical body from the neck down. So he still knows what his intuition is, though. He still has a knowing. Right. So that's like, to your point of, it's almost like a knowing, like we all know the answer. How we feel it and experience it is up to us. I remember when I first started the certification course, there's like 10 people in my living room, right? And some of them were like, it's just my heart. Like, I don't even feel intuition in my gut. It's just my heart, right? And I was like, okay, like if that's where you feel it, that's true, right? That's true for you. So I think maybe it's that sense that everything feels right. There's almost like a sense of order and connection and truth, I think, is the other thing. I often use like, ask yourself like what your name is. So I could be like, my name is Abby, and it resonates to truth because I know I'm Abby. If I say my name is Lisa, I'm like, no, that's not true because my name isn't Lisa. So it's kind of like whatever's true is, Right. So just working with that. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but I love talking with you, by the way. I always have so much fun in our conversations.
And you. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of sending people down into more confusion instead of more clarity. So
let's go to confusion and then clarity. We can go to confusion for a minute. Just pop everybody out of it.
Well, it is. And I think that, what I'm hearing is it's helpful for people who do have that variety or that confusion or that insecurity or whatever it is, to realize they're not alone. And even, I'm going to say me, I would guess that you have the same experience yourself at different days, times, issues, things, right? That even after 20, 30, 40 years, I don't know that time makes that big of a difference some days.
Agreed.
That it still happens to us. And so, I think it's important. I just want to validate people who are feeling like they're struggling. And maybe I don't have any gifts or all of this is always pulling me out. And honestly, we're at such a interesting time in history. So not only has, our year of COVID been kind of unusual and challenging in so many different ways, and so positive and so helpful in so many other ways, because when we get less inundated by other people's energy. So if you've maybe started working from home instead of being in an office and you're around less crowds, what you may be finding is you're actually feeling more of you instead of everybody else in your energy field. So what I'm seeing is a lot of people are waking up because they've had the time to kind of sit.
Yeah.
Maybe meditate a little bit, but sometimes it's even an unconscious kind of like, I spent more time staring out the window. I spent more time just hanging out and actually reading a book and being quiet. I spent less time running around and being busy, right? And all of a sudden I'm getting more intuitive information or hits or ideas. I'm kind of feeling a little more out of the box, like, ooh, there's new information coming in. So that, on top of the fact that we are, of course, energetically in really new, fabulous alignments to the galactic center, to higher vibrations, all of this has also been showing up on top of having the space. So they've all come together to work for us, whether it feels that way or not, because everybody's having their own unique experience, but it really is all for us to shift the world, to realign humanity, our consciousness, our physical paradigm, right? To align to a higher energy, which we sometimes talk about as the fifth dimension, moving ascension. All of those words are really what we're doing. And I believe it's a lot more human than some people talk about, because we're taking our bodies with us. That's the whole plan, to lighten the energy in our bodies, to wake up consciously, to expand our consciousness, to receive more intuitive information and connection and knowingness, to be able to create the life, honestly, that your soul desires, that you came to create. So this craziness that we've been in is really all about helping us to do that in so many different ways. And so I know that probably a lot of people who are listening or watching are maybe kind of new to even the idea of intuition, maybe completely new to the idea of the Akashic Records, are, really just kind of like, how do I figure this out? I don't know if you've had that experience this last year.
As far as Akashic Records or intuition?
No, like new people coming, like I've had more people coming to me who say like, I just woke up, which is always so sweet. Like, I just kind of realized there's more to life than my job and my new car or whatever it was, right? I realized there's like more, and that's energetically, psychically, intuitively, expansively, right? so much more, you know, so many more people waking up and really just really at the beginning of their journey. And so in some ways, that's what I'd say is I want to validate you if you're new to the journey and you're unsure, insecure, not, you know, clear on how you even receive intuitive information, because, you know, all of us absolutely start there and sometimes fall back there on a not such great day or whatever, right?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. And then I think it's like recalibrating to, okay, if you felt misaligned, how do you realign? How do you come back into your center or you're in alignment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really
So
like your unification with the divine, right? Like your soul within you. To me, intuition is like your soul embodied, right? It's you fully embodying that light and that pure love essence that you are, that's totally unique to you, right? Only you, and only you can fulfill your purpose. That's what's so beautiful about it. It's almost like, in some ways, maybe you can never do it wrong because it's just you discovering more you, and you're eventually going to get wherever you're meant to go because you came here for that reason, you know?
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, I love that you said it that way, that really it's our intuition is very much about that embodied aspect of our soul.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I think it's important to really talk about the heart and the gut and, you know, and of course, clairvoyance, clairaudience are telepathics, which all are up in the head, but they're part of the body also, right?
Right.
So, so from there, then I'd say, to me, the Akashic Records are the whole library of your soul, all that information that is not embodied, can't be embodied. It's the infinite wisdom of your soul. So for many of us, when we go from you know, what we know, what we feel, what we experience, that deep heart-centered intuition or gut guidance, or you know, however that's coming through, into the quantum field really of the Akashic Records, then we're able to like go into who have I been and what have I done and what other gifts do I have and what else can I bring here now and how else can I bring that information into my life so I can align even deeper further into my soul's purpose and path and understand what I planned before I came to Earth, right? Because your soul actually writes a plan before you embody. So we are not having a random sort of life. We didn't just pick a lousy family or a great family. We weren't, you know, right? It wasn't just the luck of the draw. It honestly is what you as a soul chose to experience in this lifetime. So then we go kind of back to kind of the bigger plan concept, which is saying, okay, there really is something I came to do. There are karmic patterns I want to learn about and grow around. There are people that I want to have relationships with. I want to support them and they're going to support me. Or again, I want to learn from that relationship. And so I think it's really fascinating when we go from kind of a very powerful everyday intuitive knowingness, which we all really need to guide us every single day, right? But then in the Akashic Records, in this kind of bigger quantum field, we're going, okay, and what was I thinking before I embodied? What was I thinking before I came here? What did I want to do? What gifts did I want to bring, or talents did I want to share, or people did I want to support, or experiences really did I want to have so that I can fully get something done as this infinite soul. So that's kind of part of the interesting concept, is that your soul comes to Earth to learn and grow. So in a kind of turn of thought when we're having a challenging time on earth, or challenging relationships or family or whatever that might be. It's all about your soul growing. And as we learn and we move through it, and we can be forgiveness, or be compassionate, or get deeper into love, loving others, loving ourselves, then we truly are growing as a soul, which is honestly the point of life.
Totally. Yeah, I'm just taking in what you say, because I so resonate to that. And to me, that's another word you can use for your intuition, right? Does it resonate like a piece of music? Does it, is it in harmony? But, to me, intuition is very similar. It's very interwoven with Akashic Records, right? Because it's your guidance actually to be in alignment with your soul's path. So, what you do is you bring this beautiful wisdom of readings for Akashic Records, and, all your other education about how you support people to find that for themselves. And then their intuition guides them to live that, right? To fulfill that. So it's just so beautiful, because I know for me, it's like, it's very hard if I ever go against what my soul's path is. Like, I feel it really strong. So then it's like, okay, what do I need to do to get back in alignment with my soul's path? Right. So you guys can, and gals that were watching, can ask yourselves that question. If you feel like something's off, well, how can I move back into alignment? You can call me for an intuitive reading. What is it that you need to like move back into that place where you're in harmony? Body, mind, and spirit, right? And there might be something that needs to clear. What is that energy? What is that energy in your gut maybe that's blocking you, right? Or is it your intuition guiding you? What is that, right? So kind of asking those questions, and then getting further guidance, through all those clairaudience, clairvoyance, and clairsentience. So yeah, is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, it really is important. I think that we do really expand into all of these kind of aspects, and really use that intuitive knowingness, or however our guidance, and comes through every single day. And then, of course, I teach people to access their Akashic Records, which is a bit of it's a different sort of process, because what I teach is, what the Akashic Record Keepers gave me is a 5-step wisdom prayer system, to have specific 5 steps to open into this vibration of the Akashic Records, and actually talk to your record keepers. So you can ask specific questions, such as, is this, whatever it could be, right? Is taking this course in my highest and best good? Is it aligned to my soul purpose? How is it aligned to my soul purpose, right? Say, many of my students who have taken my Akashic Self-Mastery workshops, when they go to ask about moving on into career mastery, because I do a certification also to teach people to become certified Akashic Record consultants. It's like, okay, is this part of my soul path? Have I ever been an Akashic Record Keeper, an oracle, a seer? Is this part of my plan in this life to bring this work back to humanity? Or is my plan in this life to be a healer, to be an inventor, to be a writer, a speaker, a teacher, whatever, one of millions of different sorts of things, right? But to me, the really fun and powerful thing is that you have Akashic Record guides. They're specific record keepers. And so the way they talk about themselves is that they've never been human. They're not angelic. They're not ascended masters, of course, because ascended masters have all been human and ascended. They're pure source beings of light who are here in service to you. So each and every person has their own dozen or so Akashic Record keepers. So I like to imagine it like, if your Akashic Record is a big library in the etheric field of the quantum field of source, these are your librarians. And they're here when you ask them a question to say, okay, let me get those volumes out and share that information. Let me tell you about those past lives in which you were a seer or an oracle or a shaman or a healer, when we go to look for information. So we can actually go and see past lives in which we have been this already. And I find for many people, it also helps to deepen their kind of daily intuitive guidance system, their knowingness, their connection to their higher self, right? So it's about really developing our gifts as, you know, as deep really and as wide, as expansively as is called, you know, as we're called to do and be as a soul. So the fascinating thing to me is that all of this past life information, I've had people say to me, I don't really care about my past lives. And it's like, it's not about who you were. It's not, was I some famous queen or king or warrior or writer or something? No, it's about the talents that you've had and brought to the world. Most of us are unknown names. Every once in a while, I'll do a reading for somebody and be like, oh, wow, you were kind of part of this bigger energy of, someone who we might have known historically. But most of us, it's about what we've done, what we've learned, those gifts. It's almost like, having having a backpack filled with goodies, right? That you get to carry around with you. It's like, oh wow, right? I have all these goodies.
Little gems. I guess I'm thinking like, so that's past, like, how does that apply to present moment, right? Like guidance for maybe I've been and I've learned this, but now present moment, how do I apply my intuition and the information from the Akashic Records to be who I'm meant to be now and move forward into a greater expression of that from here?
Right. Yeah. So to me, as I go back and say, how can I be more on path or on task, doing what I came to do? And often this is what people talk about, soul purpose, right? And I think that a lot of times when we think about our purpose, we seem to think we almost relate it like to some kind of a job, like it's a job description. But what the record keepers say is that when we write this soul plan, we look at all of the gifts that we've had, all of the talents we've used, all of these different lifetimes. And so most people have lived, hundreds and hundreds of lives on Earth. And so by the time we get to this point where we're totally, maybe we are never totally past any sort of survival, but when we're past survival, we're into the spiritual paths, we're thinking about, how can I bring my gifts to the world? How can I help with this ascension? How can I move into a higher vibration? When we've come to that place, we know we're pretty much old, wise souls, right? That means that you would probably have 500, 600, 800 lives here on Earth. And so then I like to say, what lifetimes have I done whatever it is I want to do now? So I use writing books kind of as example. When the Akashic Record Keepers asked me to write my first book, I thought, I can't even spell. This is ridiculous, right? How am I supposed to write a book I can't spell? So what I did was I started to go into my records and say to my record keepers, show me a past life in which I was an author, in which I could write with ease, in which information flowed to and through me as a book, right? Back then we were writing, in which I was published, a published author. Show me a lifetime in which I actually got myself published, all of these kinds of things. And so as we would go back kind of lifetime by lifetime, so I, like I say, more clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant. So I see, I hear, I feel, kind of knowing that clear knowingness is claircognizance. I could see a lifetime in which the image I have in my head right now is kind of like those old printing presses, could chunk one plate at a time, right?
Yep.
And going like, wow, that experience of my book is being printed and published, and just going through these lifetimes. And then I ask the record keepers, is there anything that's stopping me or blocking me from reclaiming that talent, that gift? And so if there was, they'd tell me about it. We do some energy healing in the quantum field, right through the Akashic Records, because this is, of course, where this energy is stored. So healing through the quantum field, reclaiming that talent and gift onto another life, so of course there were certain lifetimes where maybe I was more of a, what do they call it, controversial author. And maybe I got run out of town, or my books got burned, or, something not happy happened around writing. And so we want to go and heal that, clear that, the emotional pain, the trauma, the fear. And you can actually go in and clear that out from those specific lifetimes. So then we can get to the gifts and we can reclaim that energy. So there's a version of what I call Akashic Soul Retrieval, which means that when we have a big trauma in our lives, that aspect of our soul splinters off, in the same way we talk about soul retrieval in other forms. But through the Akashic Records, they're like, we can go to that splintered place. Again, we can heal it, clear it, release it, and merge that energy back into the oversoul, back into the bigger soul, so that we can again actually utilize those talents and gifts, reclaim that information, that energy back into present time, right? Back into the body now. So it's what we're doing is we're taking information from past lives and we're bringing it present so we can utilize it now.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, because once you get the gift and the healing and the learning, then you can move forward. But until then, if anybody's experiencing a block, like I know I have before, like, my goodness, like, I know this is my path, but I feel this. Okay, how can we reintegrate that? And I'm going to call you later because I think we should do something together, Lisa, because it's so fun to like be an intuition and get this higher thing at the same time, right? You're like downloading the heavens into your body almost, right? And just like walking that soul path. And that really is healing and creating the life you love, because when you're on soul path, you love your life. It feels so amazing. And it is, it's that higher level of service because you feel so amazing. You naturally just want to share it, right? I mean, so we have the show. It's so fun. It's like, how can you just expand into more of that, right? But it can be so frustrating if you feel blocked. So that's why we're here. You can reach out to us and we'll talk later.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, it's like, and we're all in it together. I mean, like, I know my mom's watching the show right now because she's texting me and she knows I'm really hard on myself, right? So I love the reminder that like, no matter how much work you've done or how long you've been in this field, like it's constant learning, like, man, how did I get sideswiped by that? So it's like, we all have these different experiences that I think call us to deeper levels of love. That's what you're saying, right? Like, I remember when I think I was like 19, I'd like lay in my bed and I'd be like, okay, what's my purpose? And I was like, wait, all of our purpose is to love and be loved, period. Like, we're here to love and be loved, right? And then from that, like, we have an expression with our talents and our gifts, like you were talking about, that make this world a better place. And we feel that ascended presence of our souls, right? Which is our body lifting up into that high frequency of love. So, and we're here to help each other. So anyways, there you go. Yeah, waterfall of light coming through, baby.
I know. I love that too, because I mean, really, that is the end game, and I often look at life as a game because, well, it makes life a little bit easier some days to stomach, but if you imagine that, your soul says, okay, I'm going back down there because I love it there. And it's one of the only realms where you get this physical love, expression of love, and we get to be true creator beings embodied when we give birth, when we, raise children, when we love a partner, when we but really of course, birth is a very physical aspect of creation. And there's not all that many realms we get to do things like that in. So it's kind of a fascinating concept. And so we're trying not to go down that tangent, because I'm like, and this is honestly why our masculine feminine energy has been so imbalanced over the last thousands of years, because I believe that men realize how powerful women are, because we're creator beings embodied, like we really can do this. And they can't in a very interesting way. So women have been very suppressed over the last 3,000-4,000 years, really. And so much of what we're here to do now is to awaken, which is that the end game is love, pure, unconditional, divine love. And to balance actually the masculine and the feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine, so clearly that I'm going to say it like goes away. It becomes, well, and I think that's really what we're starting to see in our world again. It's not about male or female. It's not about any color. It's not about like the meat suit that we're living in any way. It's about the divine soul, because all divine souls are just pure divine souls, right? We're just pure divine light and love. And so it's coming to a place where we can see past the meat and to the soul. And that truly is, I believe, our end game. And when we can all do that, then we really have created, heaven on earth, or the fifth or sixth dimension will really be in a completely different place than we are today in the world.
So true. I can feel it. It's like, as you're talking, I can see it. Like, I feel my heart and my third eye is open. So this is great discernment piece, right? So when you're clearly connected to your intuition, like we said, the first step is going to be your heart. You're going to feel an openness, a clarity, a peace in your heart. From that place, your third eye, which is your inner eye, can open. So as you're talking, I saw that, right? I saw like almost faces disappear, and I just saw pure white light of people's souls, and it's just raising up. And actually even felt my own children, like I just felt it all just rising up to greater light, greater love. And so when you're asking for guidance, move into your heart and then open to your third eye, open to what you see from your heart. I've been clairvoyant, what I just said, seeing.
Yep.
Since I was a kid. Like, I'd literally go on a bus because I was a basketball player, and I'd like see everybody's hearts. Like, I just sit there and I'd be like, boop, boop, I wouldn't say anything, but it was the funniest things I'd see from my heart. So when you start seeing life from your heart, you see the truth. And you start sometimes getting information you don't even want to know, but you're just like, oh, okay. But that is the clarity. See from your heart. That opens to the world we want to live in. And it certainly opens to your intuitive guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I would probably say, if there was one really important message, today and every day, is to live from your heart. And that is how we will create a higher vibrational world, how we will heal all of the challenges of humanity, kind of save our beautiful, Gaia, heal our earth, right? Is really love. Because love first, right? That is a different answer than what we think in our head when we go to fear or to worry or to survival or to, lack, or, I don't want to give my money away because what will happen then? All of that stuff that is coming from a space of woundedness and not a space of love. And so people often will, ask me things like, well, how do we ascend? How do we move into the fifth dimension? How do we do that? And the record keepers are just saying, that's really the easy answer. And that doesn't mean it's easy to do all the time, but it really is a simple answer.
Yeah. Totally.
Live from love.
So funny. I woke up that way, and man, I just, I feel it. Does everybody feel it? Feel the vibration, right? Like it's you. If you want to just place your hands on your heart in this moment and feel, this is me, this is you, this is us, you know, together we lift each other higher, you know? And I'm just grateful for you, Lisa. It's just so fun. I just think we ignite each other. And I think that that is what we're all doing, right? You know, the flame gets bigger. Like if you imagine a bunch of little sparks together, it makes a flame, you
Right.
know?
Right.
It's a fire, you know? So it's just like, yeah. And let maybe that fire burn away anything that isn't you, anything that isn't love in this moment. Just if there's any fears or doubts or anything that just isn't serving you anymore, let that flame of love literally burn that out energetically, right? Clearing the space. And then you maybe want to bring in the element of water, just cleansing it, just filling that space with that clarity, that purity. And then opening your heart to what's next. Like, show me. You know, the oversoul is that part of you that sees all and knows all. Let that embody through you as you. And then move your feet, as my mom says, move your feet, just one little step in love, right? Like, clearly we're close, but, you know, in step with love, in harmony with love, like a dance, like the beloved, right? So, you know, I just actually want to start opening the phone lines for anybody that wants to ask either Lisa or I a question. So you can call 858-692-4555. Again, that's 858-692-4555. I'm going to put it in the chat. Anybody that can see the chat, you can call us there. So anyways, with that, go ahead, Lisa. I just want to put that out there because we have about 15 minutes or so before the show's going to wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that just feels so good. And it just really was kind of, you know, coming to me how simple and yet, you know, complicated it is, because we're complicated and unique souls. And so, what I notice when I really drop into my heart is a feeling of peace and calm and spaciousness. And so the record keepers just wanted me to talk a little bit about that, because I think a lot of times we do get kind of stuck in our mental chatter and we think, how do I know I'm in my heart? Right? How do I know I'm not in my head? Right.
Right.
And they just were like, yeah, feel the peace. And it just feels calm, and to me, it feels expansive, like there's a big space there to just hang out in. Like almost float in. I'm totally such a water person too, that I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I do a lot of kind of not like clearings. I often will find it so helpful to do that with clients, is to see that like a beautiful aqua blue waterfall coming down into your crown chakra, cleansing your body, running down like a big waterfall at the back of your first chakra, big, you know, usually the grounding cord would be there, but to me, that turns into a big waterfall, just washing all this energy out of your body. And then you have that beautiful aqua spacious place to float.
Totally. I love it.
But that's kind of, to me, that's my description. I'm curious how you describe kind of being in your heart, kind of feels like that. So that's what we're often sensing, noticing, feeling, right? We're again all unique. But when people go, how do I know I'm in my heart? How do I do that? That's like, just notice some of those kinds of feelings. If you notice that peace and that calm and that quiet and that expanse, often I would say, you're there. And then get out of your head and stop worrying about it.
Right. Right. And I think one of the easiest ways is to remember a time that you were, because you all have. You were born from love. There's no way you haven't been able to experience love at some point. And so for me, it's the energy of oneness and seeing the divine, feeling the divine, actually seeing from the heart, feeling my heart as it's connected to every single person. And then, like I said earlier, there actually is no fear. And I definitely have had to work through some fears and still am. But I know when I'm in that place, of oneness, of love, that is my heart. So for everybody to feel, what is that, for you, and you can even connect to our hearts and everybody else that you want, and let that strengthen your love, because it does.
Yeah. It's a beautiful practice. And just like many things in the world, it is a practice, right? Deepening your intuition, learning to access your own Akashic Records, all of these, being in love, being in oneness and peace. It's a practice every single day, kind of coming back here, right?
It's so funny. There's this memory that's flashing across. So I remember when I was in high school, I still remember walking outside and I had this image, and I was like, if like a tiger or a person that I thought was going to hurt me came up to me, I would just look at them in the eyes with so much love that they couldn't do anything. And that is the greatest power. It's knowing your love so much that that love actually protects you.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that amazing? Like I need to take more of that feeling now into my life, like, because as a teenager, I knew that.
Right.
So that's the power of the soul being love, to know that it can walk into really any situation, knowing itself as love so deeply that it could look into something that the mind or other people might say could threaten it. But because it knows it's love, nothing can hurt it. That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, just a perfect, again, practice, right? I mean, to have practices that we remember to do. It's like using a mantra to bring your mind back into center. You can use your heart in the same sort of way to bring yourself back into center, back into peace and calm and love. Every single day, a million times a day, right?
And even just saying, I am love, if you need a mantra, if you want words to match the energy. I am God presence love, right? I am love.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Yes, it is. And it's so exciting to finally feel this opening up and being so much more available to everyone, to really start to see, again, to me, often people waking up and realizing there's more than just working really hard to make good money so I can buy whatever it is might, be for you. It's like, oh, I'm here, to be that love, to be that light, to be that compassion. And we may just shine it out in our community. It may be in the work you do, or your family, or with your parents or your kids or your siblings or your whoever it is, whoever other humans are. It can be as quiet and as unobtrusive as just, feeling that connection. As a matter of fact, I'd love to share one of the it's a guided meditation, but it's a super simple tool I'd love to share, because it's I call it the infinite connection, or the record keepers call it the infinite connection. And basically what you just do is you imagine that there's someone sitting in a chair in front of you, and you just imagine a liquid light gold infinity symbol. So it's an infinity symbol filled with golden liquid light. And it goes from your heart chakra to their heart chakra. So you just imagine this nice figure 8 infinity symbol starting at your heart and swooping out, touching their heart, swooping back, touching your heart. And this golden liquid light is flowing back and forth between you. And as this flows, it's creating a beautiful connection of pure, unconditional love. There's no conditions attached. There's no desire or need. It's pure source energy, pure gold light. And the other lovely thing about the gold is that it helps to bring us into present time. So gold is the energy of this moment. So as we're just doing that and being in love with that person, connected in pure unconditional love with that person, we're bringing our energies into this moment. And so I find that it's helpful to do with all the people in our families, because often we have cords and connections that are stuck outside of time and space. Maybe you're corded to your mom from when you were 5 or 15 or, 20 years ago. And so as we do this pure energy of love, what we're really doing is we're also being you right here and right now in this moment. Mm-hmm. And so what I see is often old cords and connections fall away. They just release. Sometimes, I don't know if you teach that, Abby, but, to de-cord or disconnect or clear cords with people from old stories, old relationships. We want to kind of get their energy cords out of our space. And I have found that this is another way to do it, especially with the people that we are in relationship with. And so I started to do this. I have 3 children, and when they were teenagers, now they're in their mid-20s, but back when they were more like, 14, 15, 16, I started to do it. I'd imagine, 4 chairs in front of me. So 3 kids and my husband, and put them all out there, right? And just love them, pure, unconditional love. And you can just do heart to heart with 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, right? And just feel that energy and that love flowing. And it's just so, so beautiful. And everybody, sounds a little funny, everybody just got a little bit nicer. They all just got along a little bit better. They actually started to treat me better, because sometimes you don't treat mom so well, always, especially when you're a teenager, you just expect they're doing stuff for you, or some. Anyway, I really found that it really shifted our family dynamic. And so you could do this with anyone, really, that your family, your workmates, your relationships, your pets. So I just wanted to share that. It just kind of came through to be shared.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I did it with you. Thank you for sharing. It's so beautiful. I could feel it. In fact, when I did it, I noticed the cords of my 3rd chakra released, because it is that higher frequency of love of the heart releases any power or struggle or any of that stuff. It's just so much easier to raise it to that higher unconditional love frequency.
Yes, absolutely.
Came through for a reason. I love it. Very cool. Well, Lisa, is there like an email address or website you want to share where people can follow you and book readings with you, or anything else you'd like to share?
Of course, I would love to. So my website is pretty simple, if you can spell Akashic, which is not the easiest thing. So akashicknowing.com. And I assume you'll have it on a page or something, so I don't have to spell it, or
actually spell it, because this goes live all over YouTube and stuff. So if you just want to spell it, that would be great.
Yeah, Akashic is, and I'm going to hear, I've got.
Yeah, there you go. I visual do that.
There you go. AKASHIC knowing, KNOWING. So Akashic Knowing is my website, akashickknowing.com. And you'll find out about the readings I do and the classes I teach. I have 2 books. This one is really a how to access your Akashic Records book. You can get it on Amazon. And The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records on Amazon. And the other one is From Questioning to Knowing, 73 Prayers to Transform Your Life, both on Amazon. This one is amazing because I channeled 73 healing prayers from the Akashic Masters. And it explains a lot about things that we often have challenges around, such as, our family relationships, or money or abundance, vows of poverty. So it really explains a lot of what is in and available and how the record keepers see our lives here. And then you can use the 73 prayers to transform with ease. I love a short prayer to clear energy, to release, to realign. So those are both on Amazon. You'll also see them on my website. And then I'll be teaching an online live workshop in June. So hope to get to see some of you there and connect with people live in a Akashic Record online workshop in June.
So awesome. Wow. Thank you so much for being here, Lisa. It's so fun. I love doing this. Yeah, she's just amazing. So it's just so fun. And yeah, I think that's it for today. Unless there's anything else you want to add before we log off, Lisa.
Boy, I just honestly just feeling kind of a lot of love and gratitude. You know what I'm getting there. I have, if I can find it quickly, a prayer for world peace.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would love to read.
For sure. Absolutely.
So this is my messy book with all my posts.
Right.
I'm like, where's the world peace posted in there? There it is. So, it's fun because I channel them and then, it's not me. It's not something like I know. So It's fun to get to use and to share. So the prayer for world peace. So let's just all take a nice breath again as we drop down into our hearts. And as I breathe into my heart, I know I am peace. And this peace permeates my heart. As I feel it in the depth of my soul, I expand this peace to embrace the world. I am peace. And as I know this is true for me, I know that this is true for humanity. And so it is. Blessed be.
Namaste. Yay. All right, everyone, have a beautiful day. May your heart just continue to guide you every moment of every day. And thank you for blessing our world with your love.